Welcome to The Silent Verdict.
With Clara Monroe and Elias Gray.
You know, it's a feeling every single car owner dreads. You're just driving along, everything seems perfectly fine, and then, bing, a little light pops up on the dashboard. That's a moment that can be just a minor thing, or, like one guy in Dallas found out, it could be the start of an absolute financial nightmare. His story kicks off with a common annoyance, but ends with a potential $7,000 repair bill. So, on one side, you've got this nagging little airbag mite. Annoying, but common. On the other side, you've got a bill that could literally buy you another car. This is the story of two completely different opinions, one little light and a mind-blowing difference of nearly $7,000. All right, so let's set the scene. Our story is about a family down in Dallas and their 2020 Honda Odyssey. One day, that little airbag light flicks on, and it just stays on. Now, with a newish car like this, the owner did what most of us would do. He figured, okay, the dealership is the place to go. But here's the real kicker, the mileage. The van is just over 36,000 miles. I mean, it's barely broken in. But, and this is so important, it's just past its bumper-to-bumper warranty. That one little detail? Well, it changes everything. So he drops the van off at 8 in the morning, and a couple hours later, his phone buzzes with a text. And this is the exact moment where the whole thing goes from a simple annoyance to a major, major problem. The dealership has finished looking at it, and the news is not good. $7,000. That was the number staring back at him from his phone, for one warning light on a 3-year-old vehicle. I mean, can you even imagine? You're just thinking, how? How is that even possible? Well, the dealership's logic went like this. The entire passenger side airbag wiring harness had to be faulty, and they claimed this thing is buried so deep inside the van that to replace it, they'd have to tear out a huge chunk of the interior. Just a massive, super complicated, and yeah, an incredibly expensive job. But then you get to the heart of the matter, because buried in their whole explanation was this one critical little sentence: they couldn't actually find the specific problem. So their big $7,000 solution wasn't to fix the actual fault, it was just to replace the whole system and, hope for the best. So this puts the owner in a really tough spot. I mean, what would you do? Do you trust the official dealership, the so-called experts, and just give the green light for a $7,000 repair? Or do you take a gamble on a second opinion? Thankfully, he went with option 2. He decided to take the van to someone he'd known and trusted for years, an independent mechanic. And let me tell you, that one decision changed everything. And he did something really smart here. He didn't say a word about the dealership, the crazy diagnosis, or that $7,000 quote. He just walked in and said, "Hey, the airbag light's on, can you take a look?" No bias, just a completely fresh set of eyes on the problem. A couple of hours go by, and the mechanic calls him back. And the news from this second mechanic was, well, to put it mildly, it was a little different. The total bill was $125, not $7,000, $125. I mean, the difference is just staggering to look at. And what's wild is that if you look up national estimates for this kind of fix, it's usually between $100 and $600. So the real fix was smack in the middle of the normal range, which just makes that dealership quote look completely insane. So what was the $7,000 problem? It was a loose plug. That's it. A single electrical connector under the driver's seat had just kind of wiggled itself loose. The independent mechanic found it, unplugged it, plugged it back in so it was snug, and that was it. Problem solved. No teardown, no new parts. This whole thing just leaves you scratching your head, right? How on earth can two trained mechanics look at the exact same car with the exact same problem and come to such wildly different conclusions? Well, it all boils down to two fundamentally different ways of thinking. The dealership's method? It's something people in the business sometimes call the parts cannon approach. Basically, instead of spending the time to do the detailed detective work to find the one tiny broken piece, it's often just faster and easier, though way, way more expensive for you, to just fire a whole new system at it. You can really see the two mindsets here. The dealership model is often about volume. You're billed on strict time frames, there's pressure to get cars in and out.
But the other model, the independent shop, that's usually built on trust. It's about keeping customers for the long haul, doing careful diagnostics, and finding the fix that actually makes sense.
You know, when it comes right down to it, this story isn't just about saving money on a car repair. It's about something much bigger. It's about the incredible value of finding a professional, in any field, who isn't just good at their job, but who is truly, genuinely honest. It's just a powerful reminder that finding someone you can actually trust is everything. In fact, I was once absolutely convinced my own car needed a full brake job, front and back, so I took it to my guy.
I told him, just do it all 4 corners, replace everything. So I come back a few hours later and the bill is half of what I was expecting. I looked at him confused and he just shrugged and said, "You didn't need the back brakes." Think about that for a second. He could have easily taken my money. I mean, I told him to, but he didn't because it wasn't the right thing to do. That kind of integrity, it's priceless.
And that right there is exactly why the best people in any profession are always busy. Trust is the ultimate business model. It brings people back again and again, and it builds a reputation that no amount of advertising could ever buy. Which brings us right back to where we started. The owner of that Honda Odyssey said it perfectly. After everything he went through, he knows exactly who he can rely on. It's not about dealership versus independent. It's about finding that one person you can truly trust. Whether we're talking about your car, your health, your finances, finding someone who's not just competent but also honest isn't just a nice thing to have, it's everything. As this story shows, that trust can literally be worth thousands. And it leaves all of us with one simple but really important question. Who do you trust with what matters most?